Welcome to Rendering Insights. In this video, we're going to be drawing another race helmet. This one is of Formula One legend Nelson Piquet. If you enjoy this video, find it helpful, please like and subscribe down below. Okay, this is the helmet we're going to be doing. I found this shot. I thought it was just so cool the way it was done. It's pretty dramatic and quite a challenge, to be honest. So anyway, we will do the line work in Illustrator and then do the color work in Photoshop. Okay, let's go. Okay, we are in Adobe Illustrator. After I had scanned in the photo that I was going to use for a reference, I went ahead and grabbed my pen tool and just traced it off. I just copied it pretty much exactly, everything in here. And to be honest, very nervous about doing his face. I'm not a portrait artist, and these types of pictures are really challenging for me. So I figured, well, I'll go ahead and do the basic lines on his eyes only, even though it looks really weird here. And then I'll figure it out when I get into Photoshop and start playing with some shading. So all this is on one layer. The only thing I did on a separate layer was his visor. Here's that visor. That way, after I have color on his helmet and on his face inside the visor, or inside that opening there, then I can go ahead and drop on this visor and do some shading on here so it looks like it's on top of the helmet. That's the only reason I made it separate. But there you go. There's our basic line work. Let's bring that into Photoshop and see what happens. Okay, we have our line work here in Photoshop. Let's go ahead and make 3 copies of our line work. Over on the right, drag it down. So that gives us 4 total. All right, on our first one, the bottom one, let's go ahead and drop in all of our base colors. All right, this is what all the base colors look like dropped in our lines. And on this drawing, I decided to go ahead and even do the background. Granted, this is the bottom of the top wing and the lower part of the body work. And this is just in the background somewhere. I don't know. So it's not important. This is our focus in here. But have all the basic colors that we're going to use on his helmet, even on his face. I just kind of grabbed a basic flesh color, put that in there, and his eyes and everything, and then we'll see how we're going to render this out. I'm a little worried about it. Okay, let's open up our second line layer and we'll start doing some shading. We'll creep up on this thing. All right, so this is what I did starting to do shading. And it's amazing what the shading really does on these drawings, all these areas. So I grab my magic wand tool one at a time in these sections, like on this extension arm on this mirror, and just put some shadows in here. Even all these grommets in here, same thing. Just start doing all that shading, even on his driving suit and on the helmet. Look how much shape we can put in the helmet just with some minimal shading. All right, see what that does? What a difference. And again, I'm staying away from his face because I'm a little nervous about it. I'm creeping up on it. We'll figure it out as we get closer. But even in this Nomex balaclava, see what we've done? We've kind of started doing, let me get it a little closer. I just kind of grabbed the paintbrush tool real small and start playing with what might look like some stitching around that, because there is stitching around these eye holes. Okay, and did some shading in here on this Nomex liner on his helmet. Okay, but we've done a lot already in here, and then putting this off till later. Okay, let's open up our next line layer and we'll do more shading and start playing a little bit. Okay, see what we've done? We've put in a lot more shading, giving us the detail on what the shape of this helmet is. This is a unique helmet where when this visor drops into these crevices in here, it goes into the side. This is a lower panel in here, so it's kind of cool. It helps show that. All right, and started darkening up his face a little bit and doing some rendering on this headstock in here too, just to start giving it some shape like it follows his face around the side of his nose. And then started rendering even some of the details on his helmet a little more too. Okay. All right, and the next one is where we do everything. I just jumped in here and really took that paintbrush tool with that black and just started playing. Start putting in his eyebrows. Looking at your reference, looking at the photograph at the time, this is what I came up with when I opened up that next line layer and started shading. Let me get in here kind of close. What I did, I just started coming in here with that, again, that paintbrush tool with the black, and just started just brushing, not only because his eyebrows are in here, but it's going to be dark. He's in the shadow of his helmet in here. Same thing with the rest of his eyes. Then I grabbed this darker flesh tone and just started brushing in some lines what would be on his face. And each line isn't too great, but you step back a little bit and it all starts coming together. And a few other details around the drawing on shading, but this is our main focus point in here. When we start putting in some little highlights on here, his face will pop. Okay, there is the balance of the shading. What a difference that made. I kind of waited to the end to do that because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, he's missing the graphics on his helmet. I went ahead and brought those in and crafted those, made some, stole some, cut some, modified them, but I put them on one layer. So here's his helmet graphics. Okay, got those in there. Now for his visor. Remember we had done that separate line layer with his visor to put it on top so we can shade it and make it look like everything else is behind it. I went ahead and made 2 layers on that visor so I could break up what we're going to do. So this is the first one. Dropped it in here. And you can see I grabbed my black real light and just did a little shading over here and a little bit on the side. But I like what that did. Left this open in here. This is still perfectly clear, but this is our shadow part. But now we need to put in a little bit of highlight. So on our next visor layer, we'll open that up and start brushing in a little bit of highlight. This is what I did. Okay. See what a difference that made. Just some reflection streaks in there, and it puts the visor on top of the helmet. It's kind of fun. The only other thing we did are a few little highlights. So here's some top highlights we did for him. You can see up here on the swivel points and down here on the mirror, there's not a lot of places to render detail like that, but just a few, and of course a little sparkle in his eyes. To me that made a big difference, and I go, okay, I can live with what I've done now because I like those highlights on there. Well, there you go. There is a quick look at how to render this race helmet number 5 Nelson Piquet. Well, thanks for watching. Please check out all the other videos we have on rendering insights.